Hello, everyone. I'd like to share an experience I had one late Thursday night in December at the Carwash auto body shop I worked at in northern Minnesota 2 years ago. I had just locked up for the night, but decided to give my Jeep Wrangler a good clean before heading home. Perk of the job. I had the keys and no one to rush me. It's weirdly peaceful at that hour. Quiet, still, just the steady hum of the lights and the occasional creak from the cold wind pressing against the building. The car wash had heated floors, which sounds nice until you mix it with air that's sitting at 5 degrees above zero. You get fog. Thick, slow-moving fog that hugs the ground and climbs around your ankles like it wants to hold you still. I rolled my Jeep in and hit the override button to unlock the car wash doors. The buzzing lights flickered once, then steadied to that dull yellow glow they always gave off. Just enough to see, but dim enough to make shadows feel alive. I cranked the pressure washer and started with the top of the vehicle, working my way down. I was rinsing off the roof, trying to ignore how the fog reached across the floor like tendrils when I reached the back windshield. I adjusted my grip on the brush and swirled it. As I started scrubbing the back glass, something stopped me. Movement. It was faint, distorted behind the soap and the light fog inside the Jeep's windows, but it was there. A shape, a silhouette. I froze. My arm hovered mid-scrub, suds dripping off the brush. I blinked hard and leaned in closer. My chest tightened, but it was there. Someone was in my Jeep. I stood frozen for a full second, maybe two. My mouth went dry. When I wiped the bubbles off the window with my glove, the seat was empty. No open door, no closing sound, no footprints, just my own breath fogging the back window again. I laughed, shaky and breathy, trying to convince myself it was a trick of the light, or maybe I was just tired. I'd pulled a double that day after all, but continued the wash. I was crouched low, scrubbing the bottom rocker panel on the passenger side, when I caught something in my peripheral vision. Just a flicker, like a twitch in your eye when you've been staring too long. I paused, blinked, and leaned slightly to the side for a better view under the frame. That's when I saw it. Feet. Just two pale, bare, dirty feet standing in the fog on the other side of my vehicle. I stood up fast, the brush slipping from my hand and clattering onto the wet concrete. The sound seemed way too loud, echoing against the tiled walls. My heart thudded in my chest. I took a breath and stepped around the rear of the Jeep, half expecting, half dreading, to come face to face with someone. But there was nothing there. Just the fog and the faint hum of the overhead fluorescent lights, and that ever-present trickling sound of water glugging into the floor drain. That did something to me. I wasn't just creeped out. I was scared now. Legitimately scared. I turned in slow circles, scanning the bay. Fog swirled in slow spirals at my feet. The light overhead buzzed louder than before, almost like it was reacting to my pulse. I tried telling myself someone could have slipped out when I walked around the Jeep earlier. Maybe I just missed them. That made more sense than ghosts or whatever. But then again, I hadn't heard anything, and there were no wet footprints, just my own. I crouched and checked under the Jeep. Empty. Just dark and wet undercarriage, the steam curling up off the floors like it had breath. I kept catching shapes in the fog, faces that weren't there when I turned my head, fingers of mist that looked like hands reaching, only to dissolve the second I blinked. I stood up and just stared at the vehicle. It looked different now, like a stranger's car. Same model, same tires, but it didn't feel like mine. It was like something had shifted. The fog was thick now, not just swirling low, but climbing the sides of the Jeep, trailing along the walls. The entire bay felt smaller. The concrete echoed differently, almost like it was muffled by more than just the fog. The pressure washer sat at my feet, hose curling like a snake, water trickling from the nozzle and vanishing into the steam-covered floor. I forced myself to keep going. I needed to finish. Just rinse it off and go home. Just get out. I grabbed the sprayer and started rinsing, the blast of water cutting through the fog like a light beam. I watched the soap slide off the hood and run toward the drain when I heard it. A scraping sound. Long, slow, metallic. I paused, water still running from the nozzle. The sound had come from beneath the Jeep, like something being dragged across metal. I turned off the sprayer and crouched again, and I swear to God, for a split second, I saw fingers. Long, pale fingers, with dirt under the nails, gripping the edge of the manhole cover near the drain. I blinked, and they were gone. But the manhole cover, it had moved. Not a lot, just a few inches, but enough. I took one slow step forward, then another. The cover had been slid off its groove, revealing a black hole below. The metal was wet, scratched, like something or someone had forced it open. That was it. I was done. I bolted for the wall and slammed the button to open the garage door. It groaned and then began its slow rise, letting in a violent rush of icy wind. The fog inside the bay exploded like it was fleeing something. I could barely see 3 feet in front of me. I ran to my Jeep, jumped inside, locked the doors, and turned the key. The engine roared as it fired up. I shifted into reverse and backed out as I heard a screech, a noise from beneath the building, from under the floor. I didn't look back. I slammed it into drive and gunned it, tires spinning before they caught. I drifted out of the lot, barely missing the icy curb, my back wheels fishtailing. I didn't stop driving until I hit the highway. Didn't stop looking in my mirrors for miles. I didn't sleep that night or much the next week. The next day I called in, told my boss I was done, no notice, no explanation. He didn't even seem surprised, he just sighed like he'd heard this before. I don't know what I saw that night. I don't want to. All I know is I'll never step foot in that car wash again. So if you ever find yourself alone in a foggy bay with the lights buzzing overhead and water slipping into the drain, keep your eyes forward. Not sure what I had experienced that night, but just getting this off my chest feels like a good start to figuring it out.